最讨厌的就是穷人。
The thing I hate the most is that poor people still choose to have children.
那如果我们
But if our generation all refuses to get married and have kids, then with the population aging more and more seriously, what will happen? What does that have to do with me? I don't think it has anything to do with me. I'm 23, studying workplace management at Beijing Institute of Technology. I'm a non-marriage advocate and I absolutely will not have children. Why do I hold such a firm belief? Marriage means a lot of burdens and the pressure to survive is just too great.
面试了7家公司，
I went for interviews at 7 companies, big and small, some listed, some not. At first, everything went pretty well during the interview process. But once they found out that I was married but hadn't had children yet, their attitude changed. They'd say things like, well, of course you'll want to have kids, and with labor laws protecting pregnant women so much these days, we can't take that kind of risk or responsibility.
现在好多年轻，
Nowadays, many young people are opting out of marriage and having children. How do you see this?
关键还是年轻人压力太大。
Well, the main issue is the pressure young people are under, especially the burden of housing. And if you have kids, the cost of school, including kindergarten, is just too much. Families can't afford it. Nowadays, it takes several people in a family to raise just one child. But in the past, one person working could support a whole family of 4 or 5. That's no longer possible.
身在大上海，
Living in Shanghai, I saw that this kindergarten has also closed down.
今年很多人
This year, many kindergartens in Lanzhou have been forced to shut down. It's truly a pity, and the situation may only get tougher in the future because the birth rate has dropped so dramatically. But for parents, there is a silver lining. Many kindergartens, to survive, have cut tuition fees significantly. Recently, more and more young people in China are choosing not to marry and not to have children. Over the past decade, China's marriage rate has almost continuously declined, and last year it plunged by nearly 21%. In 2024, there were about 6.1 million marriage registrations nationwide, the lowest number since 1986. Under today's economic pressures, growing numbers of young people are opting out of marriage and parenthood. This has led to a sharp drop in newborns and in turn a wave of kindergarten closures across the country. According to the latest statistics released by China's Ministry of Education this June, the total number of kindergartens in 2024 was 250,000, down from 270,000 in 2023. That's a decrease of 20,000, which means that on average more than 50 kindergartens shut down every single day.
现在是完全
Now I can understand why so many young people today don't want to have children. The overall environment is incredibly challenging. Finding a job is already tough, and with such low salaries, simply supporting yourself feels like a struggle. In this era, each of us is just like a speck of dust. We don't have the strength to carry the weight of a new life. Raising a child is nothing like what the generation used to say, just another pair of chopsticks at the table. It's not like that at all. To be there for a child as they grow up, you need to spend so much money, so much energy, and the whole process of raising them is full of helplessness, challenges, and heartbreak. Blogger Xiao Cheng shared that her child is only 4 years old. Just yesterday at the hospital, the doctor told her he already had 100 degrees of myopia, over 200 degrees of astigmatism, and even shows signs of sensory integration disorder. She said she was utterly devastated and still can't accept this reality. She said it feels like she is still just a child, yet in such a hurry she has to raise one of her own.
如果你不想生孩子，
If you don't want children, then don't get married. This is the painful lesson from all the married women around me. In China, once you get married, everyone automatically assumes the next step is to have kids. When you're dating, you can say you don't want children, and nobody thinks it's a big deal. But after marriage, if you don't have kids, everyone will act like you somehow owe the husband's family something. After the pressure to marry comes the pressure to have a child, and once you've had one, they'll push you for a second. In some places, if you don't have a boy, you'll be pressured to keep trying. Marriage here almost feels like an unspoken agreement that the woman owes the husband's family a son. And don't think that your boyfriend who once agreed to a child-free life will stay on your side. Their stance can change very, very easily.
不生孩子是自私
Is not having children selfish or sane?
不生孩子
Not having kids means you live for yourself. Having kids means you live for humanity, but in today's harsh social environment, how do you even raise them? What's your source of income? What do you live on? By the time a child finishes college, you'll have spent at least $84,000. And then there are all those extra classes and training programs, which are essentially a way to squeeze money out of poor families. Take my daughter, for example. 10 years ago, we couldn't even get her into a public kindergarten, so we had to put her in a private one run by the community. That was $420 a month, and it adds up over 3 years. How much is that? With the little salary you make each month, you still have to hand it over for tuition. This blogger says he's lucky he only had one child. If he had more, he'd need to buy multiple homes and cars. Essentially, your whole life would be nothing but working yourself to the bone for your kids.
30岁已婚不生娃有多爽？
How cool is it to be married at 30 and not have kids? First, way less financial pressure. No formula money, no savings for tuition. You only need enough for yourself. You can quit your job to prep for exams, pursue grad school, study abroad, or even immigrate. Your future stays wide open, and no need to buy school district apartment. Instantly, your money stress drops. Second, no family drama. No parents are helping with childcare, and no in-laws are living with them. You can order takeout at midnight, leave the house messy if you feel lazy, and live the way you want. Third, one less heavy responsibility. We've all gone through the Geico and post-grad exams. We know how brutal the education race is in big cities. We're not confident we could raise a top student, and we'd worry if our kid fell behind and had no future. The blogger says if you don't have kids, you don't suffer the physical toll of childbirth. No worrying about your body shape, accelerated aging, sleepless nights with a baby, and early mornings for work. No risk of postpartum depression either. For an ordinary child in today's China, things like exams, jobs, and buying a home are unavoidable struggles filled with stress and pain. She said, "As a human, I cannot choose my destiny, but as a woman, I can choose not to bring a new life into this world." Blogger Ge Haiyan said, if you're in your 20s and haven't even learned how to make money and you start having children, do you think that's fair to your child? Have you ever thought about what kind of living conditions and education environment you can provide for them? I have a cousin. She and her husband together earn less than $420 a month, yet she's had 6 children. The oldest is already in middle school and the youngest in elementary. They can't even afford the most basic clothes for themselves. Another cousin of mine was the same, barely in her early 20s, and she had 3 kids. Now she doesn't even know how to raise them or what to do. The blogger said, people around him often ask, "You're already in your 20s, when are you getting married? When will you have kids?" He replies, "With so much social pressure, how dare I get married? How dare I have children? If you have even a little sense of responsibility, you wouldn't. The more kids you have, the poorer you'll get."
生好像被备孕困住了。
It feels like my life is trapped by trying to get pregnant. This month marks my 3rd month of unemployment and also my 3rd month of failed attempts at conceiving. My mindset has slowly shifted from relaxed and hopeful to exhausted and anxious. Every day I'm torn between job hunting and waiting for a pregnancy. On one hand, I don't want to be seen as that bad employee who gets pregnant right after starting a new job. People gossiping, saying one cuts the tree and another suffers the shade. But on the other hand, what if I fall into a black hole? What if I can't get pregnant? Then I'll have neither a baby nor a job, and the anxiety would only get worse. And now, carrying the label of married but childless only makes job searching even harder. The blogger said every time she thinks about this late at night, she feels it's not easy for women to live in this society. Today, let's talk about why so many women in their 30s are afraid of having children. I've been in the workplace for 12 years and have seen too many real-life cases. Especially when women return from maternity leave, you realize how much has changed. That promotion opportunity may be gone, the great team you once led might already be following someone else, and many chances you worked hard for, now you have to start all over again. After having a child, you might also face what we call widowed parenting, raising the child almost alone. Your energy gets split in every direction. How many women are fortunate enough to have a husband who truly shares childcare responsibilities? Or do you have parents who can step in and support you? Most are caught in struggles from both inside and outside. Workplace pressure, family pressure, societal pressure, and worst of all, the pressure you put on yourself. You want to be a good mother, you're expected to be a good wife, and at the same time, you still have to return and prove yourself in the workplace. So sisters, when you choose to have a child, it's almost like choosing your life path all over again. And that decision needs to be made with caution. Honestly, I never wanted to get married, but last night my mom said something to me, and suddenly I started to feel like maybe I don't want to. She said, "My child right now not getting married or having kids might seem carefree, but life only goes downhill. Your friends will only get fewer and fewer and you'll grow lonelier and lonelier. While your father and I are still here, you still have a home. But when we're old and gone, you won't just lose your family, you'll lose your emotional anchor as well." The blogger said her mom also told her, "When you're sick, who's going to be there to hand you water and medicine? During holidays, when every neighbor's home is bustling with family, yours will stay cold and silent and you'll be all alone. How could we as parents ever feel at ease? No parent in the world doesn't love their child. We urge you to marry not because of some task, but because we truly hope you can find happiness." I just can't do it anymore. Really, I can't. I have a total area of 11 mu. My main building alone is over 3,000 square meters, plus the annex and the lounge. I have all the facilities a kindergarten could need. But now we only have a little over 100 kids left. How can I keep going? By June this year, I'm closing everything. What was your kindergarten like at its peak? Oh, it was glorious. I founded this kindergarten in 2012. At its peak, we had over 800 kids here. It was the largest full-time kindergarten in our area. Principal Shai said, "Do you know what 800 kids means? Back then, when you came here, there wasn't even space to step. You had to walk around the children to get through. The place was packed. That scene, it's gone forever." Yes, I have decided to close this kindergarten. Hello everyone, I'm Principal Fong from Dadi Education. Today, with a weighty heart, I officially announce the closure of Shihu Mingju Kindergarten in Shaoyang City. Over the past 23 years, I've witnessed the glorious moments of private early childhood education and endured the hardships and challenges during the pandemic. We've provided high-quality preschool education to tens of thousands of families and received the love and support of many parents and friends. Kindergartens are entirely unable to recruit children. From the previous difficulty in recruiting to the current complete lack of enrollment, in just 2 years, more than 30,000 kindergartens across the country have completely closed down. Negative population growth has destroyed the early childhood education industry. Back then, the kindergarten downstairs from us had parents fighting for spots. Now their signs say enrollment suspended. I talked to the principal for a bit. It's heartbreaking. Even if you offer rock-bottom prices, you still can't attract kids. The children enrolling in 2025, they're the ones born during the pandemic years. The birth rate has plummeted and principals are completely overwhelmed. Back then, a single class would have 30+ kids. Now, if a class even reaches 10, that's considered good. The blogger, a principal at a kindergarten, said that teachers at public kindergartens are handing out flyers in residential neighborhoods every day, like little ads. It's sad. The government's push for affordable education has lowered tuition fees so much that private kindergartens can't make money. Many can't survive this year and are shutting down completely. When a kindergarten closes, parents panic. They run all over town trying to find a new one. If all the nearby kindergartens shut down, parents might have to travel across half the city to drop off and pick up their kids. It's exhausting. This blogger says she's a principal and a mother with 26 years in early childhood education. She used to run 8 kindergartens, each with an investment of $700,000, and now, facing closure, her heart is broken. I've run a total of 8 kindergartens, and now at this very moment I still have to close. If you ask me how much money I've made, I want to say, countless tears, countless sweat. It's been such an arduous journey, but it was all worth it because the children and their families love me. Still, today the kindergarten has to close. I feel so reluctant, but there's nothing I can do. Recently, the Chinese government made significant changes to its birth policies, shifting from restricting births to actively encouraging them. This dramatic policy shift highlights just how severe China's population crisis has become. One city where the birth rate has risen significantly is Tianmen in Hebei province. In 2024, the birth rate there surged by 17%. In the first half of this year, Tianmen continued to lead the nation, with the number of newborns up 5.6% year-on-year. As a fifth-tier city, how did Tianmen manage to overcome its low birth rate? What measures did they take? First, the subsidies are unprecedented. Compared to other regions that only offer about 2,000 in birth incentives, Tianmen rewards are top tier. One-time childbirth bonuses, delivery allowances, monthly childcare stipends, and even housing subsidies. Families having a second child can receive up to $13,400, and families with 3 children can get $23,000. all deposited directly into their accounts. If the parents are teachers or healthcare workers, the housing subsidy doubles to $16,700, and 3-child families can get up to $40,000. With local housing prices around $560 per square meter, that's roughly equivalent to a 71 square meter apartment. Even more surprisingly, the subsidies are processed very quickly. Some parents even receive the money before leaving the hospital. Although many regions have introduced marriage and birth subsidies, overall marriage and birth rates remain low. Facing high costs of marriage and raising children, high youth unemployment, and an uncertain economic environment, many young people feel that the pressure of starting a family and raising children is too much to bear. 28-year-old Xiao Qin, working in Beijing, told Radio Free Asia that marriage and childbirth subsidies are just small perks. They don't fundamentally solve the problem of being unable to start a family. Xiao Qin said, "So why don't people want to get married? First, the cost of living is just too high. In Beijing, an income of $1,400 a month is considered pretty good. But if you're from another city, consider this. You still won't be able to afford a house for years, and if you get married and have a child, just the cost of formula every month, that's a considerable expense." Xiao Qin went on to say that living in China feels like being in a vast prison. He and his friends are unhappy, and there's no reason to have children. They don't want the next generation to live a life of struggle like theirs. Even workers don't want kids, and white-collar employees earning $1,400 a month don't want children either. Wang Xiaona, a blogger working in Shanghai, and her husband are both post-90s. They each earn over $1,400 a month, but in her video, Wang Xiaona said, "We don't want kids, just surviving in a big city already takes everything we have." She mentioned that one reason she doesn't want to have children is the financial pressure. Every morning she wakes up to the burden of an $1,800 mortgage with 28 years left to pay. If the house were cheaper and the mortgage smaller, they might consider having children. Also, they don't have the energy to raise a child. Their company is in Shanghai and they live in Huaqiao, Kunshan. The daily commute takes 3 to 4 hours and they often have to work overtime. When they get home from work, all they want to do is sleep or watch a show. The thought of having to take care of a child and help him with his homework is overwhelming. Some netizens may think they are selfish and irresponsible, but the blogger believes it's precisely this sense of responsibility that drives their decision not to have children. She explained that she and her husband were both university students from small towns, desperate to establish themselves in a first-tier city. If they were to have a child, they would need to be well prepared, both financially and mentally, to provide a healthy environment for their children's upbringing. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.